Welcome to the channel. My name is Coach and I'm your go-to source for everything relating to NXT. And tonight, NXT was finally invaded by TNA in a pretty massive moment, which to me, honestly, felt kinda underwhelming. So let's talk about all of this. In the main event, it was Oba versus Trick Williams. Both titles on the line. Winner takes all, TNA World Championship and NXT World Championship. And all throughout the match, multiple TNA wrestlers just came, stood in the crowd, looked at the match. This is where my problem comes in. Trick Williams and Oba is a match I've wanted to see for so long, but we've never gotten one-on-one, just a pure one-on-one match between the two of them. There's always something, whether it was Stand and Deliver where Javon Evans was added, or tonight where just a bunch of people came in. The match felt very overshadowed by all the TNA wrestlers standing ringside. Hell, Santana came, jumped over the barricade, and just joined commentary, which all was cool, but I felt like the match never felt as important and always felt like, okay, all these TNA guys are gonna invade soon. And that was fine. I liked it. I am glad TNA is invading. I just felt like it overshadowed the match. Eventually though, Trick Williams gets up in the face of Mike Santana and Santana just loses it, hits him. The match ended in disqualification, so no clear winner, and the TNA wrestlers all jump in. NXT wrestlers come out, a massive brawl. But while everyone is brawling, Ricky Saints comes out and he walks to the commentary table where the NXT Championship is, picks it up, looks at it, but Oba also comes to his side and he picks up the belt and the two have a stare down while all the other wrestlers fight in the background, and it just felt like a major disconnect. Like, why are they ignoring the literal world champion and the literal #1 contender? It feels like these would be the guys they instantly attack. No, they're mad at NXT. Again, I think it was really cool. I think they were just trying to do two things at once and it ended up being very mediocre. Like, yeah, okay, TNA invades, I'm happy about that. I hope it leads to some type of War Games match. I'm excited for that. I'm going to talk about that more later on, but I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for Oba versus Ricky Saints, but it just felt like this specific main event moment, it didn't really effectively convey what I think it needed to. So while it wasn't bad, it's not what I expected. I think we could have done a lot better job. We just needed more time. But besides this, the rest of the show is actually really great. So let's just run over that. The show starts with a lights out match between Lexis King and Miles Bourne, which was possibly the best match of the night. I really enjoyed this match. A lot of fun stuff. I've noticed NXT feels like every other week they have a special stipulation match, and that really lightens up the show, makes the show feel very different every few weeks, and I really like that. I think that's something the main roster needs to adapt. You don't need a hardcore match every second week or every week, but just a match with a stipulation, maybe like a tables match, like a blindfold match like that the other night. Something like that just makes it feel fresh, and that's kind of what this whole feud has been like. But Miles Bourne picks up the victory, which is good. It's great. I'm happy. I think this is where the feud ends, because later on Miles Bourne walks past Ethan Page and looks at that NXT North American Championship. So I would totally be down for Miles Bourne chasing that belt. And it's been a pretty fun feud. I think Lexis King has been very entertaining. He's kind of reinstated my interest in him, while Miles Bourne just keeps progressing better and better. He's had a fucking amazing year as a wrestler. So yeah, this was a really good, really fun opening, and this match specifically just made me see a lot more of what I wanted in wrestling. Like, I would love just a bunch more stipulation matches, because one-on-one matches, as fun as they are, sometimes they get a bit boring. I want to see more of this. We head backstage, which kind of set up the whole TNA invasion for tonight, where Ava calls Stevie Turner and Robert Stone, telling them that she has some business she needs to deal with and that she's not there, and she trusts them to run the show, which was a horrible decision. Robert Stone asks if she invited some TNA wrestlers because there's a bunch of them there, and she can't hear them. The phone starts breaking up and she presses dead. So Stevie Turner and Robert Stone are in charge for tonight, and that's kind of probably what led to the TNA invasion, because not saying Ava is the best general manager, she kind of is right now, but I don't think she would have let this happen the way it did. But I think it was a fun little element. I'm excited to see if this kind of translates into something different, because I want to see Stevie Turner start really going out on her own and bringing the Evolve wrestlers in, not in invasion of Evolve for NXT necessarily, but her kind of pushing them, like giving Kelly Armstrong more opportunities than other NXT women's wrestlers, if that makes sense. Kind of showing her bias to her roster, and which kind of continues that little feud with Robert Stone. But a few segments ago, I mentioned Ethan Page, who comes down to the ring saying he should be here to celebrate tonight, celebrate his victory over Tyler Breeze and the fact that he retained his Canadian championship, and he points out a special guest in the crowd from AAA, El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., and the two have a bit of a back and forth. Ethan Page is very upset. He feels like he should have won that match at Worlds Collide, but he didn't, and he blames El Hijo del Wagner for that. Ethan Page tells him that he can come to No Mercy and watch him retain the championship, or he can come down to the ring and have a match right now. So Dr. Wagner jumps the crowd and the two go into the ring and have a quick match, both of them in suits by the way, and the match lasts all but 5 seconds, before Dr. Wagner puts him in an ankle lock and makes Ethan Page tap out. Obviously, it's a non-title match, but it was very funny. Ethan Page immediately taps and Dr. Wagner stands up and he holds the North American Championship, Canadian Championship, whatever you want to call it, before he pulls off the mask and reveals it's Tavion Heights, which was a really funny reveal and not at all what I expected. Pretty much confirms Ethan Page is retaining that championship, but I'm kinda hyped for this. On a week-to-week basis, Tavion Heights keeps growing on me. I still don't think he should win the championship. I don't think he's ready, but he's progressively getting more and more entertaining, getting more character, and I really like that. And when it comes to Ethan Page, man, the guy has so much to do. Like, he has to retain because there's probably a feud with Miles Bourne that I really want to see. I want to see this feud with Dr. Wagner. I think that could be interesting. Like, his reign should not end soon. He's one of the more entertaining champions in WWE right now. Like, besides probably Obafemi and Jacy Jayne, he's the champion that I'm most excited to see with the most entertaining stuff, the most future feuds I possibly want to see. Really like that for him. We also go backstage where we get a few segments about some women's feuds. Something I really like about NXT is how many non-championship women's feuds there are. And I'm just going to combine a bunch of them because it's really entertaining. Jordynne Grace is sitting in a locker room and she's watching Blake's promo from last week, saying how she's glad Blake Monroe is finally broke and the mask has finally slipped. Ariana Grace then comes up and starts talking her shit, telling Jordynne Grace that that's not the same Mariah May that Jordynne Grace or she met, and that Jordynne Grace should be scared. But Jordynne Grace isn't, and Jordynne Grace just like, oh, you want to talk shit? Okay, I'm going to set up a match for the two of us tonight. And that's what happens. Jordynne Grace leaves, she goes to set up a match, and Ariana Grace is not happy about this at all. That leads to a match later tonight. We're gonna get to that soon. First, let's just talk about the other stuff. Jada Parker has a little segment, a promo package, where she says that everyone enjoyed Homecoming because she sure as hell didn't, because she wasn't even there, and that's all because of Lash Legend. She goes on to list all the ways that she's just better than Lash Legend, and that was a really fun promo. I really enjoyed, well, I can't say I've enjoyed this feud. I've been very intrigued by this feud. I feel like there's a lot more they can do, but I like that we're having like serious mid-card level feuds for women's wrestlers. Like, even the main roster struggles to do that. Like, you kind of have that on Raw with Io Sky breaking up with Damage Control, but for the most part you don't have that in NXT. There's so many little women's feuds progressing their characters that isn't even part of a championship. Like, half of this stuff we're going to talk about right now isn't for the women's championship, the North American championship, the women's speed championship. It's just feuds between two women's wrestlers. That's really cool. So while I still think there's a few more elements to this Jada Parker and Lash Legend feud that we could reach, I'm happy we're at least getting that. And Jada Parker, she has to, and Lash Legend, she still needs that something to really stand out. What's really funny is I'm way more invested in, well, not Shakar Jackson. She's not called Shakar Jackson anymore. She's Marsha Day in TNA, but I'm way more invested in her than I am in Lash Legend. And it's weird because, you know, she got released and went to TNA, so that's just a funny thing. We also go backstage where Lyra Valkyria is with Tatum Paxley. You all know how much I love this, so I was really excited to see this. And everything is alright between the two of them. Lyra Valkyria apologizes for not being able to catch up with her last week, and Lyra says it seems like every time she makes a new friend, they go a bit crazy. Tatum says she likes being part of Lyra's life and that she's the only real friend she has. That's when Izzy Dame comes up and hands Tatum a doll she says she dropped earlier, and to be careful because Lyra will drop her again too before pulling her away. So I don't know if Lyra Valkyria is gonna stay in NXT, but damn, I would just love to see this story progress, see Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley together more. It's probably not gonna be. This was probably just a catalyst to continue the minor breakup between Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley. But damn, it was a really good segment, even if it was just like a minute long. But let's go to the Jordynne Grace Ariana Grace match, which was a quick little match where Jordynne Grace wins. Not a squash match, but pretty much just a match to show off Jordynne Grace, give her some momentum. After the match, Blake Monroe comes out with a trash can and kendo stick. Jordynne Grace rolls out, grabs a chair, and the two start brawling. Security has to pull them apart, and Stevie Turner, Robert Stone come out. Stevie Turner tries to say, you guys will have a weapons match, but Robert Stone tries to one-up her and says it's gonna be a steel cage match at No Mercy, which it's gonna be a damn banger. Again, like I mentioned earlier, just having a bunch of feuds with no championship implications, it's really fun. It's something we need more of, and this feud has been great. It's been fantastic. There's been so many layers. This story has been going on for so long, and it's kept being entertaining. It's just a great storyline that I've really enjoyed, and I really hope Mariah May wins. I still think she's very entertaining. I think she could probably be fast-tracked to the main roster down the line, though I don't think that's gonna happen. I think she's gonna stay around a bit longer because she's really a draw. I think she's a draw. Don't confirm me on that. But I also wouldn't mind if Jordynne Grace wins, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. We also have the finals of the Women's Speed Tournament where Lainey Reed picks up a victory over Candice LeRae. Lainey Reed is going to go to No Mercy and challenge Soruka for that Women's Speed Championship, and I think my prediction is going to come true of Lainey Reed is going to win that Women's Speed Championship and somehow get involved with Jacy Jayne. Now, just as the side note, I think Zarya is going to accidentally cost Sol that championship since they're teasing that breakup. I don't think they're going to break up, but I think it's going to like just progress that story with her losing the Speed Championship, because I think Lainey Reed is 100% winning it. Lainey Reed is then kinda interviewed backstage when Jacy Jayne and the rest of Fatal Influence walk up to her. Jacy Jayne really compliments her, says she didn't think she had it in her, and continues to tease that Jacy Jayne Lainey Reed thing that makes me think that something really is going to happen. But Jacy Jayne says she doesn't need Fatal Influence, she's gonna go to the ring alone for her promo, which she does, and she cuts a little promo talking about how she's broken all the barriers, broken every label that's been put on her since being champion, and now she really is one of the greatest NXT Women's Champions there has been. That's when Lola Vice comes up, and Lola Vice says, oh, you know, you're just another girl talking about my ass, which like, damn, you know, everybody talks about that. I didn't say that. A bit of a back and forth between the two leads to Lola Vice knocking her out, and man, I really hope Lola Vice wins that championship. I'm so conflicted because I feel like it will make so much sense for Jacy Jayne to retain that championship because there's so many other women who can win it from her. But I really also want Lola Vice to win that belt. I think she deserves it. She's been very entertaining. She's had a great year. I want to see the championship on Lola Vice. I think it would be cool. It would be very different. I just need that. I'm so conflicted because I want both, but I'm not sure which one I want more. Like, I'm not going to be upset with either result, but I really think Lola Vice should win because honestly, I don't know what else there is for her to do if she doesn't win it, because she's challenged for the belt so many times and she's lost so many times. And not that I think she's gonna get released, but maybe a call up to the main roster could work for her. But I think if she loses and she just goes back to feuding with mid-card women, I think we're really doing a step down for what she could achieve at her next level. And then our final talking point for tonight, backstage, Kale Dixon and Uriah Connors apologize to Andre Chase for his busted nose and say they got a bit out of control. And then two NASCAR dudes walk up. The one NASCAR dude says that NXT is really fun and he likes being in it and he wants to meet that guy who they keep saying his name, and then he appears. That's when Darkseid comes up and Darkseid says like, no, if you say that, we're gonna beat you up. And the one thing leads to next, they say his name, and Joe Henry is the second dude in the NASCAR element. And all throughout the segment, I kept wondering, how the hell is Joe Henry gonna appear? I didn't at all think it's gonna be the other NASCAR dude, because there was a bunch of NASCAR dudes on tonight's show. So that was really funny. I really liked that. And it set up a 3-on-3 match with Joe Henry, Kale Dixon, and Uriah Connors against three members of Darkseid. And I don't understand why we didn't just make it a 4-on-4 match. It felt like that would have been a lot more natural. But okay, we go to this match, a really fun match. But at the end, it is Darkseid who picks up the victory, which is very weird. Okay, I'm glad Darkseid gets all these victories, but Joe Henry keeps not picking up L's, but this whole feud, Joe Henry is seemingly the one losing all the time, which is weird. I don't think that should be how we're booking him. I don't think we should be making him a comedy character. Although his character is very reliant on comedy, I don't think that's exactly what I feel like he has a lot more depth. But I'm excited to see where this leads. I think Joe Henry versus Darkseid, maybe not a War Games match, but seeing Joe Henry have to build up his own team because everybody he's teamed up with has constantly lost. So Joe Henry needs to go find 3 other dudes, and you can build a really interesting storyline that way, where he has to, collect a team, build his Avengers to face Darkseid. Could be fun. And that was NXT for you tonight, and honestly, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. The show was perfect from every angle, especially all the women's action tonight, especially all the fun little matches, because like not all the matches felt major, but it was just quick, fun, entertaining. That's what I really liked in all the women's action. The only thing that brings it down for me is that one aspect of the main event. It was just a main event, really. I don't think it succeeded. I think if you gave it an hour and you built each storyline individually, like had a banger match and then had all the invasion stuff, I think could have been way better. So if you like my channel and you like my review, please leave a like and subscribe. I cover NXT, TNA, and Evolve every single week. Last week wasn't exactly that because I was a bit sick, but we're back on action. And also every Thursday night, I'm gonna have a podcast where we just talk about Evolve. It's on PUWF. I do it with a bunch of other cool people. You should really join us. I'm gonna start linking them in the description. I just forget sometimes. So really, come check it out. It's an hour to 2 hours long. It's just fun chatting about Evolve. You should join. It'll be fun. So please like, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Goodbye, everyone.